Hi guys, welcome to this week's Read Aloud. Today we are going to continue with our reading of Lila and Hadley by Kody Keplinger. Last week we did chapter 1 and this week we're going to do chapters 2 and 3. So find a comfy spot and let's get started. Try to keep in mind what we read last week, okay? Because we're going to continue on today. Chapter 2. When Mama first told me I'd have to go live with Beth, I thought she was pulling my leg. Until she started crying, that is. Things had been weird for the past year or so. First, Mama had stopped working at Dr. Parker's bookkeeper and gotten a new job cleaning houses, though she wouldn't tell me why. She'd been working for Dr. Parker for years, taking care of all the billing and keeping track of the money for his practice. So I kind of figured something was up when she wasn't working for him no more. Then she was always on the phone with people, and when she'd hang up, she'd be all upset and teary-eyed. When I asked who she was talking to, she told me it was a lawyer, but she said I didn't need to worry about it. She started being really forgetful, never remembering when parent-teacher conferences were, or forgetting to go to the grocery store when we ran out of milk, or toilet paper, or stuff like that. I'd press her about it sometimes, but she just said she was stressed out, and that everything was going to be fine. "Don't worry, Bean," she'd say, stroking the back of my head. "It's nothing for you to get upset over. It'll all be okay." Turns out, my mama was a liar. She'd lied to Dr. Parker for months while she was stealing money from him, and she'd lied to me every time she said things would be fine. They weren't fine at all. The judge found her guilty in May, and she was going to jail for a whole year. And now she was telling me I had to go live with my stupid older sister, who I hadn't even seen since I was 7. "I'm sorry, Hadley," Mama said, her voice muffled, but the trembling hands pressed against her face. "I'm so sorry, but you'll be okay. I promise. Hadley?" I'd already stormed off, and I made sure to slam my bedroom door real hard, too. She'd lied to me so much. Why should I believe her promises now? I wasn't just mad about what she'd done or about having to live with stupid Beth. It was all of it. I just finished 6th grade and I was gonna have to switch schools come August. Beth lived in Kentucky, but I'd spent my whole life in Tennessee. Mama kept saying it was only a 3 or 4 hour drive, but that's a long way. For far enough that I didn't know when I'd see my friends again after I left. So no, I wasn't going to be fine. I refused to talk to Mama for the next 2 days, even as she helped me pack up my room. Once Beth came to get me and Mama went to jail to serve her sentence, this house wouldn't be ours anymore. We were just renters, and that meant our landlady, Miss Martindale, would be letting new people move in. My bedroom would be someone else's bedroom, and I'd be living in a new state, in a new house, going to a new school. And it was all Mama's fault. She tried to trick me into talking to her. She made my favorite dinner, pulled pork sandwiches, and offered to let me stay up late and watch TV. But I didn't have nothing to say to her. And when Beth showed up in her little blue car to take me away, I walked out the front door without even saying goodbye. "Hadley," Mama had called, and I could hear her voice breaking. She was about to cry again, just like she'd done the day before, and the day before that. "Bean, please." Beth glanced at me. She hadn't said a whole lot since she'd gotten there, but she asked, "Don't you want to say goodbye?" "No. I also don't want to hear Beth's opinion on any of it. She didn't have a right to talk to me about saying goodbye. She hadn't said goodbye to me when she left us. One day, she'd been there teaching me how to do a French braid and painting my toenails in the bright blues and purples that Mama hated. And the next, she'd just been gone. Walked out on us. So who was she to talk about goodbyes? "But you know Mama won't be back for a while." "I don't care," I snapped. Beth looked over at Mama then. It must have been the first time they'd really looked at each other since Beth left us all those years before, but Mama just shook her head. I went and climbed into Beth's car, slamming the passenger side door, while she and Mama exchanged a few quiet words. Then Beth got into the driver's seat next to me. "Ready to go?" she asked. I didn't answer. What did Beth want me to say? Of course I wasn't ready. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to live with her. I didn't want any of this. Mama had spent years teaching me the difference between right and wrong. And now she was the one who'd done something real wrong. And I was being punished too. It wasn't fair. Beth started the engine, but before she pulled out, there was a tap on my window. Mama stood outside, gesturing for me to roll the window down. I didn't move, so after a minute, Beth rolled it down for me. "Hadley," Mama said. Yep, she was crying. I want to say it didn't make me feel bad for her, but it did, just a little. Mama had never been much of a crier before all this. In fact, I'd only seen her cry 3 times before she stopped working for Dr. Parker. The first time was at Grandma Laura's funeral, when I was 4. The second was 2 years later, the night the police officer showed up to tell her that Daddy had been in a car accident and wasn't coming home. And then, of course, the day Beth moved out. But she'd been crying an awful lot over the past few months, and especially in the 2 days since she told me the judge's decision. He'd given her a few days to get her affairs in order, whatever that meant, before she'd have to go to jail. That's where she'd be spending the next year because of what she did. And as much as I wanted to punish her too, seeing her hurt still hurt me a little bit. "Hadley," she said again, reaching through the open window to squeeze my shoulder. "I love you, Bean. You know that, right? No matter what happens, I love you so much and I'm sorry. But I'll see you soon, okay? I'll write to you and Beth can bring you to see me, right, Beth?" "Sure," Beth said. "Anytime Hadley wants me to bring her for visitation, I will." "You hear that, Bean?" I didn't answer. Mama swallowed hard. "Okay, well, be careful. Take care of yourself. I love you." "I'll take care of her, Mama," Beth said. "I promise. She'll be fine." That's when I decided Beth was probably a liar, too. I was angry and heartbroken and scared. I didn't know if I'd ever be fine again. Beth and I finally pulled away, and even though I didn't want to, I caught myself staring in the side mirror, watching Mama still standing in the driveway, hands over her face until I couldn't see her no more. Which I guess didn't really take all that long. "So," Beth said after about an hour of driving, she'd been talking basically nonstop. Just tried to fill the silence, as Mama would have said. Talking about her job as a dog trainer and her clients, and also the dog rescue she'd been working with, and the house she lived in, and the school where I'd be going in August. Talk. But then her voice had turned a bit nervous. "Mama told me your eyes have been getting worse because of the, shoot. What was it called again? RP stands for, retinitis pigmentosa," I muttered. I hated those 2 words. They sounded harsh and ugly, and I'd heard them a million times in the past couple years, usually by eye doctors who said it in that serious, "I have bad news" voice. "That's it," Beth said. "Thank you. Anyway, I was talking to Mama about it, and I got to thinking, maybe it's about time you start making some preparations for when it gets worse, you know?" Mama said she'd been meaning to look into different programs or classes that could help you, but with everything going on, she hadn't had a chance. So I did some research, and we could get you a teacher, someone to show you how to walk with a cane and cross streets safely, that kind of thing. We could even be able to find you a Braille teacher if that was something you'd be interested in. What do you think? "I don't need a teacher." "Oh, I can get around fine. I can see fine." "Well, sure, maybe for now," Beth said as she switched on the windshield wipers. It had started raining, because the day wasn't awful enough, I guess. But Hadley, it's going to get worse, and it can't hurt to be prepared. Learning some new things might even be fun. You might make new friends. Not interested. Okay, she said with a tone that told me I was clearly testing her patience. I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to, but it's something to think about. I just want to be helpful. I didn't respond. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want her bringing it up either. What did she know about how much I could see or what was good for me? Nothing. She didn't know nothing. That sure didn't stop her from trying, though. She'd gotten to her house that afternoon, and I'd pretty much been shut up in her guest bedroom ever since. She tried to get me to unpack. It'll make you feel more at home, Hadley. She tried to get me to eat more. You'll feel better with a full stomach, Hadley. She tried to get me to go outside and help her with her flower garden. We could all use some fresh air sometimes, Hadley. It's been 2 weeks, and my stupid sister refuses to just leave me alone. All I want to do is stay in bed watching YouTube videos on my phone, text my friends back in Tennessee, and eating potato chips. But instead, she insists on dragging me all over this new town with her. It's okay to be angry and upset, she told me a few days ago. You've got every right to be, but this isn't healthy. Hadley, I'm worried about you. You gotta find something you enjoy, something that'll help you cope with being here. I ain't so sure Lila is exactly what she meant. And that's the end of chapter 2. And let's start chapter number 3. Well, this sure is a surprise. I jump, startled by the voice behind me, and snatch my hand away from the dog I'm petting. It seems startled too, but probably more because of my sudden movement than anything, and it scurried back, moving toward the other end of its kennel. Remember, Lila is in the kennel looking at a dog named Lila. I turn around to see who's rude enough to come up and scare me like that, and I find myself looking up at a tall, pretty black woman who I guess to be in her mid-20s, around the same age as Beth. She's dressed in a short-sleeved navy blue button-down shirt and khaki shorts, and her dark, curly hair is pulled back. She smiles down at me, all warm and friendly-like. Sorry, she says. Didn't mean to startle you. Well, you did, I snap, folding my arms tight over my chest. How'd you get Lila to come to you? Who? She nodded to the kennel at my back. The dog. How'd you get her to come over and let you pet her? I shrugged. I don't know. I held my hand out and she just came over. Why? What's it matter? Interesting. The woman stepped closer, looking past me and into the pen. I've never seen her do that before. Lila's been here for months, and most days we can barely get her to look at us, let alone come to us. Slowly, I turn around to look back into the kennel. Lila has retreated into the corner, where she already curled up facing the wall, sure enough. I didn't do anything special, I said. I promise. You must just have the magical touch, she says, smiling at me again. What's your name, by the way? Are you one of the youth volunteers? I haven't seen you before. I shake my head. My name's Hadley. I'm... Oh, the woman says, and her smile gets even bigger, if that's possible. You're Beth's sister. That explains it. Explains what? But before she can answer, there's a sound of heavy door creaking open and thudding closed, and Beth's voice echoes over the sound of barking dogs as she calls out, Hadley, you in here? We can go ahead and go. I can't find... She trails off as her footsteps around the corner into the main strip of kennels, where the tall woman and I are standing. Oh, Vanessa, there you are. I was looking for you. Well, you found me, the tall woman, Vanessa, I suppose, says. And now she turned that big smile on Beth. Beth giggles. It's a nervous, quiet giggle, and she ducks her head away. I can't quite tell from this distance, but I'd waged her cheeks are burning pink, too. Looks like your sister inherited your skill with dogs. Vanessa tells Beth. Beth clears her throat before replying. That's so. Hadley told me she wasn't a dog person. I'm not, I mutter. Could have fooled me, Vanessa says. She got Lila to come to her. I watched it happen. Lila walked right up to the edge of the kennel and let Hadley pet her. Are you serious? Beth moved toward us, now toward Lila's kennel. Inside, the pit bull still ain't moving. It's like she's trying real hard to ignore us. Can't say I blame her. I know it ain't fun hearing people talk about you like that. Like you're not even there. But Beth seems all too concerned about this though. You're sure? Lila? How? Positive, and no idea how. I asked, but Hadley says she held out a hand. Lila must just like her more than the rest of us. She must, Beth murmurs. You ought to be flattered, Hadley. Lila doesn't seem to like anybody. She puts a hand on my shoulder, giving me a little squeeze, but I jerk away and put a big step between us. It ain't a big deal, I say. It's just a dog. There's a long pause where nobody speaks. Even the other dogs barking seem to quiet a little bit. Finally, though, Vanessa says, Hadley? I look over my shoulder at her. What? Forgive me, I wasn't being very polite. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Vanessa. Truckett. I run Right Choice Rescue. Yeah, kind of figured. Hadley, Beth hisses, don't be rude. But Vanessa just keeps beaming at me. Does this woman ever not smile? I feel like smiling so big like that would make her cheeks hurt. I might be overstepping here, she says, but I have an idea. I think you should take Lila. What? The word pops out of Beth's and my mouth at the same time, with the same sound of disbelief. Vanessa, Beth says, you know I can't adopt a dog right now. I'm already so busy with work, and now with Hadley here, money is going to be tight. I can't afford a new dog. Not adopt Lila, Vanessa clarifies. Foster her. Foster, I ask? Yes, says Vanessa. Lila would come home with you and Beth, but it's just temporary. The rescue will keep paying for all her food and medical expenses if they come up. Except she'll get to live with you and you can train her. Train her? Vanessa has to be out of her mind. I ain't got a clue how to train dogs. Lucky for you, you've got a sister who's really good at it. I don't know, Vanessa, Beth says. I've been working on training Lila since she got here, and she's not responsive. Just because she came to Hadley one time doesn't necessarily mean anything. You might be right, Vanessa admits, but that's more interest than she's shown in any of us in months. And if Lila does like Hadley, she's got a better shot at breaking through than we do. If Hadley can get her trained, socialized a bit, then maybe we can get Lila adopted. She's clearly miserable here, but we can't adopt her out until she's got at least basic training and a little friendlier. Besides, I watch her make eye contact with Beth. It'll give Hadley a nice project for the summer. I hate the way they look at each other. That meaningful pause that passes between them. It makes it real clear they've been talking about me. Beth has probably told Vanessa all about how she can hardly get me to leave my room most days. How I'm mean and angry and how she's worried about me and my health or whatever. And now Vanessa is in on it too, trying to fix me when I don't want to be fixed. You might have a point, Beth says. Y'all gotta be kidding me, I snap. Beth, I keep telling you I ain't a dog person. I don't want to do this. Even as I say the words, though, I catch myself turning to look at Lila again. And I can't shake that feeling I had when I first saw her. That pull that got me to crouch down and offer my hand. Maybe I ain't a dog person, but it sure sounds like Lila ain't a people dog, ain't neither. For some reason, though, we'd reached out to each other. And apparently that's enough for Vanessa and Beth, who are already talking out the details and hunting down a crate for us to take Lila home. They walk off, telling me they'll be back in a few minutes. I sigh and sit down on the concrete floor, looking through the kennel bars at Lila. Can you believe this? I ask her. She shifts a little, moving so she ain't facing the wall no more, but instead she has her head half turned in my direction. Looks like we're gonna be stuck together. I warn you, I don't think I'm real good company these days, but at least you won't be here, I guess. Lila takes a breath and lets out a sigh. Yeah, that's how I feel, I tell her. Oh well, I guess we can be miserable together. 10 minutes later, Vanessa and Beth are loading Lila's crate into the back seat of the little car. They'd make me lure her into the box because she wouldn't respond to either of them. And even with me, she hadn't seemed too willing. But they'd given me treats and I'd managed to coax her inside. Vanessa helps Beth lift the heavy box and scoot it across the seat before shutting the back door. Can you give it a couple weeks? She tells Beth and me. It seems like if it seems like it won't work, at least we'll know. But I think this might be the perfect solution for everybody. We'll see, Beth says. I'm still a bit skeptical, but if it can give Hadley a nice project and... I grunt and storm off. Tired of hearing them talk about me, I climb into the passenger seat and slam the door. Through the window, I can see them still chatting for a minute. Then Vanessa gives Beth a quick hug and heads back inside. Beth just stands there for a minute watching her go before walking to the driver's door and getting into the car. Well, she says, this sure isn't how I expected today to go. I ignore her and instead stare out my own window. Beth sighs. All right, Hadley, Lila, let's go home. And that's the end of chapter 3. I hope you enjoyed this week's chapter book read aloud. I will see you next week, and we will continue reading Lila and Hadley. Have a good week. Bye, guys.